tree had to go in the ground, grew successfully, no problem. I think we did 9 or 10, 7 or 8. I can't remember. Not a massive amount, but not a small amount either. But yeah, lots of time still to get your trees in. So then, speaking of that, like trees, what are they good for? You know, really, trees. Booyah! What are they good for? Absolutely everything.
Say it again.
And that brings us to an end.
It does. Thank you for joining us.
We should have finished on that note.
We've derailed.
Yeah, how do we go on from that now? We hit our pinnacle too early. Our apologies.
Yeah, sorry.
But yesterday we talked about what the tree does, more so for the environment and for us, like to make the environment comfortable for us. But obviously part of that is beneficial for the tree. Water vapor, clouds equals rain. Breathing in carbon dioxide to produce sugars and photosynthesis. And then all of the other pollutants and whatnot it did. But today, I want to talk about, the real tangible parts of having a tree. Not trees as a whole, not what they do, inside this leaf right now, blasted in sunlight and the photosynthesis going. But the other things, because I look at that leaf and I know what's happening in there. I know the chemical process. I know that it's being watered, so it's bringing up water. I know it's got carbon dioxide. 1, I'm breathing on it. 2, it's in the air anyway, and I can see the light on the leaf. So I know that that's happening. However, the light on that leaf and then this leaf being in the shadow creates an amazing contrast, and that just makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
Okay, that I enjoy that. The color green is a soothing color. Looking at all the different shades, the nice pattern. And it's been proven, like actually scientifically proven, how beneficial trees are to mental health. And I've said it before and I will always say it again. I do not believe that going out in nature and going out to a park and sitting under a tree will cure depression. Absolutely not. If you do have mental health issues, nothing but love. Talk to doctors, talk to peers, support networks, everything else. But enjoying nature and having trees and whatnot around you is absolutely a tool in the toolbox to help us combat things like anxiety and PTSD. I know people who suffer from it, and getting them out into nature can help calm them down and help ground them. I don't have the mental health issues like that, and it grounds me. I feel incredible when I get out there. I went out last night, figured I'd be out for an hour. I was gone for 2.5. And I just couldn't stop, like, explore, ooh, what's over here? Ooh, let's go down this path. So the benefit trees bring to our spirit and our soul and our mind is absolutely incredible. I should be jotting these down quickly. And that one is probably one of my favorite about trees. Even before it was proven, it was one of those that if somebody had asked me, I'd be like, yeah, because I know how it makes me feel. Being surrounded by plants. Maybe you can't have a tree, but you can certainly have plants. And that's all part and parcel of the same thing. But another thing trees give us is food. And we've talked on this show, again, globally, about how if plants had never come to be, there'd be no life on this planet. All life as we know it, I should say. Check the ego column. Without that, there's none.
No.
If I don't exist, there's no life.
Not allowed.
Yeah. But if we think more, again, more personally, more intimate, instead of a big global thing, our ancestors, one of the first things, before we learned how to hunt, before we learned how to do anything like that, we learned how to eat berries and apples. And that was what we survived on, and bananas, everything that came from the trees. So food was essential to the progress we've made. And then with that as well, a very, very basic one is shelter. And if we take that a step further, so you're outside, not during a thunderstorm, not during lightning. Do not hide under a tree during lightning. We would actually sleep in trees. We'd get off the ground away from predators. And when it rains, we still go stand under a tree. Or when it's too hot, too sunny, we seek out the shade of a tree. But the side note to that is what it does environmentally. So it can keep our house warm in the winter and cool in the summer. So in the summer, it can provide shade, and it can shade our house and keep the house cooler. And in the winter, it can stop those winds blasting into the house, and it can keep the house warmer. So even to this day, it does that. Then if we go to the next logical step of that, and this is all part of the shelter thing, okay? Lumber. If you think about most houses, okay, maybe the outside of your house is brick, or it's stucco, or it's concrete, or it's a composite or plastic siding. Great, no problem. But what are the insides? What's your drywall hanging on? What is the framing? That's all lumber. Your floor is plywood, and that all comes from trees. So trees, even to this day and age, back, 10, 20,000, 50,000 years ago, we were hiding in trees because we didn't have what we have now. But even then, fast forward all of that time to modern man, and we still build our homes and our buildings with that. In fact, our knowledge of lumber and being able to treat it and press it and whatnot, I believe, so you weren't, I believe any building over 3 stories wasn't allowed to be made of wood because of fire risk. They've since, it had to be metal and composites and whatnot, steel frames. And I believe that they've now changed that to 8 floors.
Whoa.
Yeah, because they've managed to compress it for weight, and it can't catch fire because its density is too.
Whoa.
Excuse me, its density is too great. So even to this day and age, we're taking shelter, and then if we want to talk about shelter and whatnot, this is independent of keeping our house warm, but warmth. I know this one will 100% appeal to Brandy, but it'll probably appeal to a lot of people. What is better than on that crisp early autumn evening than sitting around a fireplace?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you got your cozy sweater on, a warm cider or a glass of wine or whatever, and you've got like a barbecue going, and you got that fire pit going. And it might be 3 degrees, 5 degrees outside, but you have that toasty fire going, and you're comfortable, you're warm, cooking hot dogs, making s'mores. Mm-hmm. And just the vision of that is probably good for people's mental health.
Yeah.
But what are we burning in that fireplace? The vast majority of us have a wood-burning fireplace when we're outside. So the trees provide all of that as well. So it's all of these things. And then another one that is essential. And this is, kind of whether we like it or not. But this, you know what, it's going to get its own page. I'm not putting it at the bottom because it's that important. Is biodiversity. Okay? And the biodiversity that a tree provides. So to go to the most extreme example, and this is one that I cite a lot. The giant redwoods in California. Those trees are massive. Absolutely, like, ridiculously massive. Hundreds of feet tall. Hundreds and hundreds of feet tall. And bases, 50, 60 feet wide. Like, it would take 20 of me holding hands to circle one. And that's an average one. It's not even the biggest. And in its lifespan, that tree, so this colossal tree, this is kind of to scale, but not really. That's me. This massive, massive tree growing in the forests, okay? From the time it's a seed, until the time that it falls over, no, it falls the other way, it doesn't squash me.
Yeah, no.
It falls the other way, and it breaks down and turns back into soil. So from seed to soil, that entire life cycle, which is countless years, if it's all natural. That one tree can house over 1 million species of life. And that's everything from fungus all the way up to grizzly bears and everything in between. The amount of mammals that use it, birds, insects, Other plants grow on it. The ridges in the bark are so deep. Other plants will grow in it. It'll start breaking down, and other plants find nourishment in it. So it houses life, like mammals, birds. It replenishes the soil, fungus, plants, everything, and that's one tree. So we then go, okay, let's dial it back and go to like the apple tree in our yard. We might not like them, but you'll get apple maggots. Okay, they're an essential part of the food chain. A lot of birds eat them. Birds will nest in that tree. When it drops its apple, the wasps and ants go for the sugars. Other critters that want to prey on the wasps and the ants will come there. So you'll have ladybirds, you'll have spiders, and all of that is happening whether we like it or not. The tree is supporting that biodiversity. And the more biodiversity, I've said it before, but having a varied and diverse garden is the healthiest type of garden to have. Having all one type of plant. You run the risk, if you get a disease or an insect in, it will rip through that. Where if you have different species, you can interrupt the flow of any kind of pathogen or insect or bad thing coming into the yard. So the diversity we have with various insects, providing shade and shelter and comfort for them, trees are essential for that. Trees can also add value to your property. You show up and it's a new house and there's nothing in the front, just a patch of grass. Great, wonderful, it's a beautiful house, move in, you love it. Take the same house but put a mature tree, the curbside appeal jumps like that. And people, I know this from when I was landscaping, and some people sold houses, obviously that happens. And it was easier to sell with this beautiful garden and mature trees because people would be like, I don't even care about the house, I want this garden. This is what I'm looking at. And then they come in and they look at the house, and in no way am I saying, there's no like causation correlation here, but the perception is, if you have this beautifully maintained garden, then you must have a beautifully maintained home. Not always the case. There are times when I've spent way too much time in my garden and my house looks like crap. Dishes are piled up. I'm like, oh, I'll get to them tomorrow. I got more tomatoes. I can do that in the winter.
Yeah.
It doesn't get that bad. But, well, it did when I was a bachelor. Who's kidding who? But, that mentality where we see this garden and we see this tree and we see all of this life and we go, oh my God, that's the home I want. It's welcoming. Okay? And it all ties together. So the house that gets value was built by lumber. The people who pull up and go, oh my God, look at that tree, that's amazing. They're feeling that way because it's boosting their mental health. It's boosting how they feel. The biodiversity is keeping everything healthy, which makes it more welcoming. And it all feeds in. And again, the trees don't know they're doing that. They're just being trees. That's how incredibly awesome they are. That's why they're so essential to this planet. That's why we need more trees. It'll never hurt. Planting new forests, planting new trees. It's that old proverb. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And that is so true. 20 years ago, the amount of carbon it would capture, the amount of life it would give, all of those amazing things, the maturity for picking apples. But if we didn't do it 20 years ago, let's do it now. So 20 years from now, we can look back and go, hey, I did that tree. So that wraps it up. I could go on longer as always. Tomorrow we're going to talk about what trees do for the soil and their immediate surrounding area. We've talked about what they do globally. We've talked about what they can do for us. We've talked about what's a tree. Now let's talk about what the tree does for its area and how it sustains itself and what it looks for. Have an amazing Wednesday, everybody. Weekend is in sight. Enjoy the weather, enjoy summer, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.